Calling all beginner homesteaders, will you join me on this journey? Hi, I'm Katie, and like you, I'm a beginner homesteader trying to build my life around sustainability, simple living, and homesteading. I unknowingly started this journey about 2 years ago, and although there's always a calling for homesteading, I never really had a name for it. And now that I have a name for it, my goal is to sharpen the skill set that I've learned thus far and learn new skills and new things as well. And the really exciting part is I'm also building a modern homestead to really take these skills to the next level. So if you feel like this is something you want to see and be part of, then hit that subscribe button. So to start, like I said before, the calling for homesteading was always kind of there. I always had an interest in gardening and canning and learning how to do things like on a homestead. And prior, like before 2.5 years ago, I just never really had the time. I was working a corporate job, and it was also determined that that was not the path for me. It was definitely not a good fit. And so I had this opportunity to really jump into learning how to homestead. And so far, it's been really rewarding. And it's also been such a learning experience as well. And I think what really led to this transition ultimately were the fundamentals that I had. The fundamentals that I always kind of had since I was a little kid. One of them being I always dreamed about being a stay-at-home mom, or even just the fact that I've just always naturally been a frugal person. But then there's also the fundamentals that I've learned earlier in life. Like, for example, when I met my husband, I really started to show a love for food. And part of this had to do with my lifestyle at the time when I met my husband. I was in college. I was taking more than the average amount of classes because I was a double major. I was also working a ton of hours too to help pay off my student loans. So I was very busy. And, I was actually just talking to my husband looking back at that time, and at the time, if I could just pop a pill and get, all the nourishment that I needed for food, then I would have totally been down. And now that's just so not like me. Now I see food and how it can be nourishing, and you can make it so tasty, and how it just really fills your body. And part of this is because of his personality and his love for food. And so it really was an eye-opener for me, and a fundamental that changed my life in a positive way. And not only that, but that's, a part of my faith where that comes in too. I believe God is going to put all the food that we need to nourish our bodies and heal our bodies if there's any ailments or things that aren't exactly considered healthy. So the food portion of it is definitely a core part, I feel like, of homesteading, because at the end of the day, we need to eat, we need to nourish our bodies. And as a result of starting to cook more things from scratch and having this love for food, you see all of the brokenness in the food system and the food that we have that we can buy at the grocery stores. And it really is a ripple effect, because once you realize how broken the food system is, it's like you start seeing things that you didn't see before, or thinking things that you didn't think before. It's like, if they can add all these preservatives and additives and hormones to the food that we eat and have it be legal, what else is going on that we're not aware of? So for all of you beginner homesteaders out there, will you join me on this journey? And this journey, just to clarify, includes taking the plot of land that my husband had and building a home on it and turning it into a homestead, and learning how to live a simple life and sustainability and all the things that go on a homestead. And I really want to put emphasis on the fact that we are building this homestead from the ground up. And I say that because, where my husband and I are right now, we are renting, and I have been blessed with the opportunity to start learning how to garden and to learn how to can. And I even took out my sewing machine for the first time and used that. So there's definitely different abilities that I've had so far, but I'm just truly excited to have the home finished and built, because we are building it around this lifestyle. We're building the home so it functions as a homestead, and I think that's so important. And most houses that you buy today, it's just for the average American lifestyle, you know? It doesn't lend itself to having a fully functioning kitchen or storage space that really matters, because let's be real here, having a homestead, you have tools, you have equipment that you need to store somewhere. So I definitely want to put emphasis on that and the fact that we are literally building this homestead from the ground up with no experience. And so my goal for this channel is to make this a community and to provide tools and resources for all of you beginner homesteaders to follow in my footsteps if you want, whether it comes to building or just learning how to do the different homesteading tasks. Like, for example, making a sourdough starter with fresh milled wheat, or even canning different things, or just homesteading stuff that's, you know, is exciting. And I'll be honest, I might not get to some of that stuff right away, just simply because building the homestead is going to be the focus for now. But I do want to eventually get to that point, because at the end of the day, the homestead, it's constantly being worked on. There's constantly things that are being updated and upgraded, and new garden beds, or, you know, ways to make it function in a way that's better. And it's an ongoing, I don't know the word, it's an ongoing thing. So join me if this seems like something that you would like to join. And that's all I have for you today. So I'll see you next time. Bye.